So does this make the you-know-what comic canon now? Hey peeps, it's the Pink King here, and I just got done watching Zootopia 2, or Zootropolis 2 for all my fellow British speakers out there. Now, it's no secret that Disney have not been having the best of years, as many of their projects have been underperforming, in addition to a lot of their movies recently just sucking as a whole. And that's not even mentioning all the other atrocities going on behind the scenes. I think it's safe to say that Disney are really in need of a win now more than ever. So why not make a sequel to one of their most popular movies of the 2010s? Because surely nothing could go wrong with doing that. But joking aside, I was very skeptical going into this movie. I was actually a big fan of the first Zootopia film. Despite its lack of subtlety for its themes, I found it to be a really clever concept with funny and likable characters who you could easily get invested in. However, despite my opinions on the first movie, I was mainly worried about how they'd go about the sequel here, because how exactly do you make a follow-up to this movie without it just being a rehash of the original? And after seeing it for myself, I was pleasantly surprised. No, genuinely, this is the most fun I've had with an original Disney animated movie in a long time. Now, would I consider this a masterpiece like I've been seeing a lot of other people do? No, not really. This movie, in my opinion, is being a little overhyped because this isn't as strong as the first one in my opinion, because there's quite a few big glaring issues here that unfortunately do hold it back from being as solid as I'd like it to be. But for what I did expect, I was genuinely surprised with how heartwarming of a return to form this movie actually was. This will be a spoiler-free review, by the way, in case you haven't seen it yet, although, just judging by the box office numbers already, chances are you already have. First of all, probably my favourite aspect in this movie would have to be the dynamic between Judy and Nick, as both characters are now struggling with clashing goals, as Judy is more desperate to prove to everyone that they're a good duo with Nick, and Nick just wants to take it easy and not constantly put their lives in danger when in reality they don't really have to. It's a believable clash in ideals that leads to some solid comedic moments, as well as a lot of heartwarming scenes that manage to really tug on the heartstrings. Especially with that ending, man. We see both the characters just talk to each other, and it's really quite emotional, just how honest they are with each other, and what it really means to hear the other one say it. That's just how good their dynamic was throughout the whole movie. It was probably the most interesting aspect of the movie. But it wasn't only these two that stood out, because the animation here was really quite nice, as not only did they manage to somehow improve upon what the first movie did, but they managed to bring a whole lot more life here as well. And we really should have more life here, because we get to explore more of the biomes and how they work, as well as a secret biome that looks absolutely beautiful. Like, some shots they have of this new biome really left my jaw agape because of how beautiful it was. You could definitely tell that they wanted to explore more aspects to this animal world that we didn't quite get to see in the first movie, and for the most part, it works really quite well. I kept wanting to pause the screen on several occasions because of the addition of the level of detail they managed to sneak in. But not only because of the detail, because there's a lot of visual gags that are blink and you'll miss it scenes, and they're really quite funny depending on which one you see. Like, the Steve Buscemi Weasel returns for a cameo, and if you notice, if you pay very close attention, he's doing the DVD scam thing again, but the joke is slightly different, and not only was it unexpected, but it was kind of surprising that Disney would allow it, because, it's taking shots at them in particular. So I was kind of shocked to see them leave that in, although I'm really glad that they kept it in the end, because it's quite funny. I just didn't expect him to be that self-aware. And speaking of self-aware, they actually took a lot of feedback from the first movie and improved upon it here, mainly within the themes here, whereas the first movie had a lot of themes of like racism, inequality, and it just really hammered it home, really shoved it into your face. Here, they're much more reserved in terms of that theming here. It's not gone entirely. They just allow the audience to come to their own conclusion of the racist themes without ever needing to like constantly throw it in your face about it. And you know, it was pretty solid. After all, these are really important messages that kids should be taught. So the fact that they were able to still have it without it being forced was definitely an improvement here. However, for as good as this movie was, it does a few things I really didn't like, and that unfortunately hold this movie back from being as good as it possibly could have been. Now hold on peeps, do you want to be featured in a video? Just like Grace, Crocky Dog, and Ominous Window? Then you need to subscribe right now, because peeps, I'm on a mission to get to 30,000 subscribers and I need your help in order to reach it. So, if you guys are enjoying the content I've been making so far, because we've been on a roll recently, and want a chance to be featured in a video just like this, then be sure to subscribe right now and comment down below telling me you subscribed, and who knows, it might be your name that's the one featured in my very next video. But with that, let's get back into Zootopia. You see, the biggest problem this movie has would probably have to be the pacing of it all. Because the start of this movie, you know, it was very snappy, it was very on time, it felt very flowy, and the ending as well felt very well paced and meaningful, but the middle of the movie does tend to drag far more than it ever really needed to. And I think that's mainly because they take scenes that you feel like you could just get through fairly quickly and just stretch them out far more than they ever really need to be. It feels like we go to a lot of places and, you know, do a lot of things that we didn't really need to do. And, you know, you could have condensed that more for a much more solid runtime. And even when we start building up towards the climax, it goes on for so long, because just when you think we're like finally getting towards the ending, we suddenly have a whole lot more to get through. And with the ending, they have this big chase where they hunt down the villain in order to stop him, even though a few seconds ago we just saw them fall to their death. For me personally, it just felt like they were really dragging this movie out for it to be as long as possible, which does unfortunately hold it back from being as solid as it probably should have been. And while we're on the topic of the villain, while they're not as bad as Bellwether from the first film, I just wasn't as interested in them as I feel like the creators wanted me to be, you know? They're another twist villain, but the twist is so obvious, you see it coming from like a mile away, and again, it's a good concept, but it really did feel kinda underwhelming, honestly. So while it definitely works, I feel like they made the villain miss something. There's something off about the villain that really doesn't help them stand out at all. Also, can we just talk about how the trailers basically lied to us all? Like, that, you see that cloaked figure that has been teased in all the promotions? Yeah, he's not in the movie at all. I heard that it was supposed to be a placeholder villain, but even then, I feel like that's kind of a shame, because I feel like that could have been a really interesting idea for a mystery that we see in this film. It could have been really fitting, if you will. And despite what the promotion may have you believe, the snake character Gary isn't as involved in the story as you'd probably expect him to be, with him only really getting any proper development within the last 30 minutes of the movie. Which, you know, is also kind of a shame, because the ideas they present with him and how the world sees snakes as a whole was really interesting. I kind of wish that they expanded more on what that meant for everyone and why that is. There was a lot of potential there that I feel like we didn't really get enough time to actually take in. So, in conclusion, what would I rate this movie? Well, in terms of rating it, I'd have to say that it's a good movie, just not a great one. After all, we've been getting so many bad Disney movies as of late. Like, just look at Moana 2, for example, that when we finally do get something not bad, people are so quick to call it a masterpiece, which, you know, this film definitely isn't. And in my personal opinion, is being a little overhyped, you know? It's good, it's just not that good. But still, despite that, this is a really solid film that I'm certain is worth checking out for just the characters alone. If you like the first movie, you'll love this second one. And so with that, I'm giving Zootopia 2 a solid 7 out of 10. But what did you guys think of it? Did you enjoy Zootopia 2, or did you not enjoy Zootopia 2? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'm interested to see what you guys had to say about this movie. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content just like this, then be sure to like this video and subscribe. But with that, peeps, it's been the Pink King here, and I will see you all next time.